From the time I was little, something in me was always a little off. I never listened to the whole story. Only half of it. My grandmother called me a good-for-nothing, who was financially burdening the family. She bought a little boy to be my younger brother, and told me to take good care of him. I understood the part about buying a child, so I immediately called the police and reported her for illegal human trafficking. My father pointed at my face and cursed me for being unfilial, accusing me of cutting off his family line. I obeyed him back into his room while he slept that night, and used a knife to cut off his lineage. My father screamed in agony. In the chaos, he accidentally killed me. When I opened my eyes again, I had transmigrated into the female lead of a melodramatic abuse novel. After 10 years of marriage to the cruel male lead, his childhood sweetheart had just returned from abroad and was undergoing kidney surgery. He dragged me to the hospital and cruelly ordered me to donate a kidney to his precious first love. I nodded obediently, went out and bought a pig, and on the spot dug out the pig's kidney and handed it to him. Chapter 1, the male lead's expression darkened to something frightening. Lily, are you an idiot? I told you to donate a kidney. A human kidney. Do you have any idea how important Wendy is to me? She once saved my life. I have to repay that debt of gratitude. I thought it over for a moment and nodded in understanding. I'm sorry I misunderstood earlier. My docility made him pause slightly. The fury in his eyes cooled by several degrees, and his tone softened as well. It's fine. Go get yourself ready. I nodded, then gently poured him a glass of water, perhaps feeling a bit guilty about shouting at me. Drank it. Soon after, he said he felt sleepy and told me to make proper pre-op preparations, while he went to rest in the ward. Smiling, I followed behind him. After watching him lie down, I called a nurse over. Nurse, the kidney donor is ready. I watched, deeply moved as the male lead was wheeled into the operating room. When the red light above the operating room door came on, tears welled up in my eyes. I never expected him to be willing to donate a kidney, just to repay a life-saving favor. I had to tell his childhood sweetheart about this touching act. Lily, why are you still here? Shouldn't you be in the operating room? A sharp voice questioned me from behind. I turned back in confusion and rummaged through my memories until I recognized the woman in front of me. She was the male lead's childhood sweetheart, Wendy Cooper. I tilted my head. Wendy, shouldn't you be in surgery right now? She strode over quickly and pointed at the operating room. If you're here, then who's in there? I answered honestly, the male. Oh, right. I corrected myself. Matt. Wendy's eyes flew wide open. What? You actually let Matt go into surgery? Lily, are you stupid? I blinked my large, innocent eyes. He said, you're his childhood sweetheart and that you once saved his life. He said he had to personally repay that life-saving debt at my words. Wendy was deeply shaken. Her eyes reddened slightly as she looked at the operating room with emotion. I blinked again and asked curiously, Wendy, aren't you supposed to be having surgery? Why are you standing here? She shot me a glare. I'm going in for surgery right now. I believed her and watched her retreating figure with genuine emotion. What a pair of. I thought about it for a long time, but couldn't come up with the right words. Calling them a pair of lovebirds didn't seem right. They weren't married. Matt and I were the married couple, so that wouldn't work. But Matt didn't like me. I'd seen on TV that when a husband and wife don't love each other, can choose to divorce. I patted my slightly defective head and pulled out my phone to contact a lawyer about divorce. When Matt was wheeled out of the operating room, I dutifully went over to take care of him as his wife should. When he finally woke up and noticed the incision on his chest, he immediately demanded, Lily, what did you do to me? I blinked and answered truthfully. A kidney donation surgery. He glared at me furiously. Are you stupid, Lily? I told you to donate your kidney. Why did you donate mine? Chapter 2. Before I could say a word, Wendy walked in with reddened eyes and threw herself into Matt's arms, overcome with emotion. Matt. Thank you. I never imagined you'd be willing to go this far for me. Crying so hard, she looked pitiful. And he successfully dampened Matt's rage. His gaze softened, the emotions in his eyes turning as sweet as honey. Even his voice grew gentle. For you, I'd do anything. When he looked at me again, his eyes turned vicious. Can't you see I'm a patient? Hurry up and get me something to eat. I didn't want to, but I was his wife. We weren't divorced yet, so I had a responsibility. The problem was I didn't know how to cook. But he ordered me to do it anyway. Following my memories, I went home and step by step followed instructions on my phone to cook some porridge. Then brought it to the hospital. He flew into a rage and dumped my food straight into the trash. Lily, did you do this on purpose? Are you trying to kill me so you can become a widow? I blinked. Then that night, I started sharpening a knife. The sound of my sharpening woke Matt. When he saw the cleaver in my hand, his face went deathly pale. He screamed and ran out of the room. After that, a nurse politely escorted me out. But Matt was the one who said I should become a widow. I even went out of my way to look up what being widowed meant. And being widowed meant I would be free of my husband. After being kicked out, I felt deeply regretful that I couldn't become a widow. For a long while after that, Matt didn't call for me again. So I focused wholeheartedly on figuring out the divorce. I even drafted a divorce agreement. Half a month later, Matt called. Wendy just graduated and is still a medical intern. She wants to practice surgery. Bring your mom over and let Wendy practice on her mom. Grandma once said that girls were nothing but good for nothings. And financially burdened a family. They would eventually be married off. Once married, your husband's mother became your real mother. You were nothing but an outsider to your birth family. Once I got married, I was only allowed to acknowledge one mother in this life. My mother-in-law. But my mother-in-law was Matt's real mother. Was he sure? I hesitated. But what if she dies? He answered impatiently. Then she dies. She should consider herself lucky that she's chosen to help Wendy practice. I thought for a moment, then asked. What if mom doesn't agree? Matt grew even more annoyed. Don't you know how to drug her? You were so good at drugging me last time. Can't you do it again? He hung up. I tapped to end the recording. I might be a little slow, but after hearing my situation, the lawyer felt very sorry for me. Because I'm missing a screw and only ever hear half of what's said. The lawyer was worried I wouldn't remember things. He told me to record every call with Matt. He said it might help later when it came time to divide property. I'm very obedient. As soon as I hung up, I sent the recording to the lawyer. Right now, I was still Matt's wife. So I was supposed to listen to him. Grandma always said that as long as you're someone's wife, even for one day, you must listen to your husband for that day. But the police officer said, I can't break the law. After thinking it over, I called Matt back. We can't do this. It's illegal, Matt snapped impatiently. Then bring your mom to me. I'll handle it myself. Chapter 3. Matt didn't give me a chance to refuse before hanging up again. I blinked. Only then did I realize I'd forgotten to start the recording. But it was just 1 or 2 sentences. Probably not important. I was only calling my mother-in-law to meet with her son. That should be fine, right? I called my mother-in-law. By the time she arrived, I headed over as well. When I got there and went to look for her, I was told she'd already been sent into the operating room. I was surprised that fast. Had Matt drugged her and sent her in? Didn't he know that was his own mother? I went to the operating room entrance and happened to see Matt. He was holding Wendy's hand, chatting and laughing as they walked over. I stepped forward to remind him. Matt, do you even know who was sent into surgery at that? Wendy, who had been smiling, suddenly teared up. If Lily doesn't want to help me, then forget it. She doesn't trust that I'm capable enough. Lily must be worried about me. I hurriedly waved my hands. No, that's not it. I'm just worried about Matt. After all that, Matt shoved me aside impatiently. What's there to worry about? It's not my mom. I may be missing a screw, but I still had a conscience. I chased after them. What if the practice surgery fails? I know I'm not in a position to say this, but that's still a human life. Matt rolled his eyes. Practice surgeries are risky. If she dies, she dies. Oh, right. I already signed the risk consent form on your behalf. I'm your mom's family. I have the right to sign. I reached out to stop him before I could speak. Matt shoved me hard and frowned as he shut the operating room doors. Just before the doors closed, I saw Wendy turn and smile smugly at me, silently mouthing that she would never let my mom come out alive. I was pushed to the ground. I climbed back up, dusted off my pants and shook my head helplessly. The one receiving the practice surgery wasn't even my real mom. What was I worried about? I hadn't expected Matt to be this ruthless. It seemed bringing up divorce had been the right decision. The lawyer handed me the drafted divorce agreement. And I sat waiting outside the operating room. 3 hours later, they came out laughing and chatting. Matt pulled off his mask and said to me, "Coolly Lily, your mom is dead." I also had Wendy dissect her so she could study the human body. Then he tossed me a body donation consent form. Sign it with his hands in his pockets. Matt looked at me with nothing but indifference. What kind of compensation do you want? Say it and I'll give it to you. I shook my head. I can't sign this. Only you can. You're her son. I quickly handed him the divorce agreement. You don't like me and we're not suited to be husband and wife. Let's get divorced. Matt's eyes darkened sharply. So your compensation is divorce and taking half of my assets. He slammed the divorce agreement hard into my face. I didn't expect this. Really? You're more calculating than I thought. Every clause your lawyer wrote is airtight. But why should my property go to you? If you want a divorce, fine. But only if you leave with nothing. I answered honestly. The lawyer said. This is my right. Chapter 4. Thinking of what Grandma always said. That once a woman marries, she should put her husband's family first. I added, I'm doing this for your own good. If something happens to you, at least you'll still have half your assets. Otherwise, you might end up with nothing. He clenched his teeth and shouted that I was cursing him. Wendy stepped in looking agreed. Matt. This is all my fault. I was too foolish and messed up during practice. Lily must be blaming me. That's why she wants to divorce you. She sobbed as she spoke. And said she would give her life to repay my mother. Crying, she even made as if to rush toward the window. Matt grabbed her and coaxed her gently. Wendy, don't do this. It hurts me to see you like this. As he comforted her, Wendy fainted. His gaze toward me grew even more hateful. As he swept her up into his arms. Then he barked at me viciously. There's no way I'm giving you half. If you want compensation, I can give you a little. Some assets, but anything related to the company. Don't even think about touching it. Unhappy, I went back to the lawyer and explained the situation. The lawyer gave me another divorce agreement. This one no longer divided the assets in half. Matt's company was worth billions, with enormous cash flow and monthly net profits in the millions. He also owned a great deal of fixed property. This new agreement divided the fixed assets, giving me 2/3 of them, and allocated another portion of liquid assets. Compared to company shares, it was less but far more practical. I didn't understand. So the lawyer explained. First, ask for the moon. Then when you make a second demand, they're more likely to agree. I took the new divorce agreement and went to Matt. He glanced at it impatiently. Then even praised me for being sensible. After signing, he said. This is your compensation. Hurry up and sign the death certificate paperwork. And take your mom away. The divorce proceedings take 1 month to complete. Hearing that, I truly didn't understand. Hadn't he even looked at his mother's face during the dissection? I said, Matt. I can't sign this and I can't take her away. You're her son. Only you can sign take her or don't. If you don't, she'll stay in the morgue forever. Matt impatiently drove me out. I went home, packed a few changes of clothes and left. He never contacted me again. Instead, Wendy kept posting on social media, showing off how well Matt treated her, where they traveled, what they did. She said it was because her practice surgery had failed, and he was taking her out to relax. A month later, the divorce proceedings were finalized and all assets had been transferred. Matt and Wendy arrived at the courthouse hand in hand. As soon as he got the divorce certificate, Andy immediately registered their marriage. She flaunted the marriage certificate in front of me, deliberately hugging and kissing Matt right before my eyes. Just then, a doctor called Matt, urging him, Mr. Radin. Your mother's body has been in the morgue for a month now. When will you come to claim it? Matt's expression changed instantly. Matt froze, phone pressed to his ear. His face, previously flushed with the excitement of his new marriage, turned the color of old ash. What did you say? He whispered. The doctor on the other end was loud enough for me to hear. Mr. Radin, I said your mother, Mrs. Radin, has been in the morgue for a month. You authorized the anatomy practice. The intern, Dr. Cooper, performed the dissection. We need you to sign for cremation. Matt's hand trembled. He looked at Wendy, then at me. But Lily said it was her mother. I blinked, confused. No, I didn't. I asked you if you were sure. I asked you if you wanted to send Mom in. You said yes. You said if she dies, she dies. You said my mother-in-law is my only real mother. Wendy let out a sharp, nervous laugh. Matt, don't listen to her. She's crazy. It was obviously her trashy birth mother. My birth mother is in Hawaii, I said helpfully, pulling up a photo on my phone my sister had sent me. She's dancing the hula. The silence that descended on the courthouse steps was heavy, like the air before a thunderstorm. Matt dropped his phone. The screen cracked, much like his composure. "Wendy," Matt said, his voice shaking. "Who was on the table? Who did you cut open?" Wendy took a step back, her heels clacking on the pavement. I didn't look at the face closely. It was draped. You told me it was a cadaver provided by Lily. You said it was practice. I told you it was Mom. I corrected her. I tried to stop you at the door. I asked if you knew who was inside. You smiled and said you wouldn't let her come out alive. Matt let out a sound that wasn't quite human. It was a guttural roar of realization. He didn't go to the honeymoon suite. He dragged Wendy and me to the hospital morgue. When the mortician unzipped the bag, I stood back respectfully. Matt collapsed. The woman lying there, stitched back together clumsily like a broken doll, was indeed his mother. The wealthy, aristocratic Mrs. Radin, who had always looked down on me, was now a practice dummy for her son's lover. Matt vomited on the floor. Wendy screamed, "It's not my fault. I didn't know. It's Lily's fault. She didn't explain it clearly." I tilted my head. I recorded the call where Matt told me to drug her. And the video where I tried to stop you at the door, and Matt shoved me. My lawyer said to document everything. I pulled out my phone. Matt lunged at me, his eyes bloodshot. "You monster. You set me up." I stepped back, and the police officers I had called on the way over stepped forward. "Matthew Radin?" "Wendy Cooper," the officer said sternly. "We received a report regarding illegal euthanasia, unauthorized medical experimentation, and corpse desecration. You have the right to remain silent." As they were handcuffed, Matt screamed my name. "Lily. I'm going to kill you. Undo this. You're my wife, you have to fix this." I held up the divorce certificate he had been so eager to get 10 minutes ago. "I'm not your wife anymore, Matt. And Grandma said we shouldn't get involved in other people's family business." Chapter 6, The Landlord. The scandal was, as the news put it, biblical. The CEO of Radin Corp drugging his own mother to let his mistress practice surgery on her? It was the kind of story that destroyed empires. And it did. Matt and Wendy made bail 3 days later. They had excellent lawyers, of course. They spun a story about miscommunication and my mental state. They claimed I was a mastermind who tricked them. But the recordings were irrefutable. Matt's voice saying, "If she dies, played on every news channel. I sat in my new villa, one of the properties I had received in the settlement, eating an apple. It was very crisp. The lawyer called me. "Lily," he sounded happy. "Radin Corp stock has dropped 80%. The board of directors has fired Matt. However, because you hold the majority of the physical assets, including the office building Radin Corp rents, you are now their biggest creditor." "Oh," I said. "Does that mean they have to pay me?" "Yes." "And Matt?" "Well, he kept the liquid cash and the stocks. The stocks are worthless, and he spent most of the cash on bail and legal fees. He's technically homeless." I thought about this. Being homeless is dangerous. There are stray dogs. "Indeed," the lawyer said. "By the way, Matt and Wendy are currently trying to move into the seaside manor. The one awarded to you in the divorce." "But that's my house," I said. "Exactly. Would you like to call security?" "No," I said, remembering something I saw in a movie. "I want to collect rent." I took a taxi to the manor. When I arrived, Matt was trying to smash the electronic lock with a rock. Wendy was sitting on her Louis Vuitton suitcases, crying about her ruined medical career. When they saw me, Matt charged. "Give me the code. This is my house. I bought it. It's mine now," I said, holding up the deed. "The judge gave it to me because you didn't want to give me half the company. You said the company was too valuable. Are you regretting it?" Matt's face turned purple. He looked like the pig I had bought the kidney from. "Lily, I have no time for your stupidity. Let us in. We have nowhere else to go. My accounts are frozen." "You can stay," I said. Wendy stopped crying. "Really?" "Yes. But you have to pay rent. And since you aren't married to me, you are tenants. Tenants have to follow rules." "Fine, whatever." Matt shouted. "Open the door." I opened the door. They rushed in. "The rent is $50,000 a month," I said. "Paid in advance." Matt froze. "I don't have that kind of cash right now." "Then you can work it off," I suggested. "Grandma said if you don't have money, you must have labor. I fired the maid yesterday because she stole a spoon. You can be the maid." Matt looked like he wanted to strangle me, but he looked at the cold wind outside and the paparazzi camped at the gate. "Fine," he hissed. "Just for a few days until I clear my name." I nodded. "Wendy can be the cook. But she can't cook people." Only food. Wendy shrieked. I never cooked people. It was surgery. The soup tasted bad anyway, I mumbled, remembering the porridge Matt threw away. Chapter 7, Domestic Bliss. Living with my ex-husband and his new wife was very educational. I learned that Matt was very messy. He threw his socks on the floor. In the past, I picked them up because I was his wife. Now, I was his landlord. Fine $100 for littering, I said, marking it on a clipboard. You're crazy. Matt yelled from the couch. He was drinking my wine. That wine is $500 a glass, I added. Grandma said alcohol costs extra. Wendy was a terrible cook. She tried to make steak, but she burned it. It's carbonized, I observed. Is this another dissection experiment? Wendy threw the spatula at me. I ducked. It hit a vase. That vase was Ming Dynasty, I said. Market value $200,000. It's coming out of your deposit. Oh wait, you didn't pay a deposit. Matt stood up, his eyes wild. Stop it. Just stop it. Why are you doing this to us? I'm not doing anything, I said innocently. I'm just living my life. You are the ones breaking things. I need money, Lily, Matt said, his voice changing from anger to begging. I need to pay the lawyers. If I go to prison, you won't get any rent. That's true, I said. So, sign the house back to me. Just temporarily. I'll mortgage it, win the lawsuit, and pay you back double. I tilted my head. But the lawyer said you are bad with money. You turned a billion-dollar company into a penny stock in 1 week. Grandma said never lend money to a gambler. I am not a gambler. I am a victim of your stupidity. I don't think so, I said. I think you are a victim of your own cleverness. You wanted to save money on the divorce, so you gave me the houses. You wanted to save money on the surgery, so you used your mom. You are very frugal, Matt. He screamed and tried to grab me. I pressed the panic button on my necklace. 2 large security guards, whom I had hired with my dividend checks, walked in. They were very professional. They picked Matt up and threw him onto the lawn. Wendy ran after him, clutching her pearls. Eviction, I said to the guards. They broke the lease. Chapter 8, The Kidney Returns. Matt and Wendy were desperate. The trial was approaching. The evidence was overwhelming. One night, I woke up to a noise. I sat up in bed. My bedroom door creaked open. It was Matt. He was holding a knife. Lily, he rasped. He looked terrible. Unshaven, dirty. You ruined my life. You ruined it yourself, I said, pulling the covers up. You killed your mom. Shut up. He stepped closer. If you die, the assets revert to me as. Well, they don't, but I'll find a will. Or I'll force you to write one. That's illegal, I reminded him. I don't care anymore. I have nothing. Wendy left me. She testified against me to get a plea deal. She said I forced her to cut my mom open. She's not very loyal, I noted. I told you she wasn't a good match. It's all because of you. If you had just given your kidney to Wendy, none of this would have happened. But Wendy didn't need a kidney, I said. I saw her medical report. The lawyer found it. She had a minor infection. She just wanted my kidney because she hates me. She wanted me to be scarred. Matt paused. What? She lied to you, Matt. She's a liar. I bought a pig kidney, and she pretended it worked. How can a pig kidney work in a human? You believed her because you think you are smart and I am dumb. Matt stared at me. The knife lowered slightly. The gears in his head were turning, grinding against the rust of his arrogance. She lied? Yes. And now you are going to prison for killing your mom, and she is going to verify it to save herself. Matt started to laugh. It was a dry, broken sound. I killed my mom, for a lie? Yes, I said. Can you leave now? I have a beauty appointment in the morning. Matt looked at the knife, then at me. You really are missing a screw, Lily. You don't feel fear, do you? Grandma said fear is useless. If someone wants to kill you, running won't help if you are slow. Better to reason with them. You can't reason with a madman, Matt whispered. He raised the knife again. But I had already pressed the button under my pillow. A taser dart hit Matt in the chest. He convulsed and fell. My security guard, Dave, stepped out of the bathroom. Good job, Dave, I said. Please take the trash out. Chapter 9, The Trial. The trial was televised. I wore a nice black dress. It was respectful. Wendy took the stand. She cried beautifully. She said Matt was a tyrant who controlled her every move. She said she thought the woman on the table was a Jane Doe. Then my lawyer played the video from the hospital hallway. The one where Wendy smiled at me and mouthed, I won't let your mom come out alive. The jury gasped. Wendy's face went pale. Then it was Matt's turn. He didn't defend himself. He just sat there, staring at the air. When asked why he did it, he looked at the judge and said, "I thought it was my wife's mother. I thought she was useless." The judge, a stern woman who looked a bit like my grandma, frowned. "So, murder is acceptable if the victim is your mother-in-law?" "No," Matt mumbled. "But Lily, she's just a burden. I wanted to make Wendy happy." "Mr. Radin," the judge said. "You are sentenced to life in prison without parole. Dr. Cooper, you are sentenced to 25 years for manslaughter and fraud." As they were dragged away, Matt looked back at me. "Lily," he shouted. "Are you happy now? You won." I stood up and smoothed my skirt. "I didn't want to win, Matt. I just wanted a divorce. You are the one who insisted on a kidney." Epilogue, the good for nothing. 5 years passed. I did not remarry. Grandma said men are trouble, and after Matt, I agreed. I used the money from the rent. Radin Corp eventually went bankrupt, and I turned the office building into an indoor amusement park to open a shelter for stray animals. They were like me. Sometimes a little broken, sometimes biting people who tried to touch them, but mostly they just wanted to eat and sleep. I visited Matt in prison once. He had aged 20 years. He was working in the prison kitchen. "Hello, Matt," I said through the glass. He looked at me with dull eyes. "What do you want?" "I brought you some soup," I said, holding up a thermos, though the guard wouldn't let me pass it. "It's kidney soup." Matt flinched. "Pig kidney?" "Yes. I learned how to cook it properly. It's very nutritious." Matt stared at me for a long time. Then, he started to cry. Silent, heaving sobs. "I miss my mom," he whispered. "I know," I said. "I visited her grave today. I cleaned it." "Since you can't go." "Why?" he asked. "Why are you nice to me?" "I tried to kill you. I killed my mom thinking it was yours." I thought about it. Because Grandma said hate is too much work. It's heavy to carry around. I prefer to carry groceries. I stood up. "Goodbye, Matt. I won't come again. The bus fare is $2, and I'm saving up for a new scratching post for the cats." I walked out of the prison into the bright sunlight. I felt the warm breeze on my face. Some people said I was stupid. Some people said I was a genius who played the long game. The lawyer said I was the most terrifying client he ever had. I didn't care about any of that. I was just Lily. And for the first time in my life, I listened to the whole story, and it had a happy ending. I stopped by the market on the way home. The butcher waved at me. "Hey, Lily. Want another pig kidney?" I smiled. "No thank you. I think I've had enough kidneys for one lifetime." I bought a chicken instead. Being a widow, well, a divorcee, was very peaceful. I patted my slightly defective head and walked home. Everything was finally right.